When you stop trying to serve everything and everyone and start owning what your signature stance is, your standards, your beliefs, your opinions, people start to know exactly why they're following you and what they're going to get out of your work together. And you become known for something. And known creates conversations. Known creates conversions. Hey there, and welcome to the Life and Business on Purpose podcast, where purpose meets profit and mindset meets strategy. I'm your host, Sandy Patterson, former kindergarten teacher turned online business coach, mom of two really cool boys, and the creator of the Momentum Method. Through this 3-phase method over the past 2.5 years, I have helped dozens of women build values-aligned, profitable businesses without working 40+ hours a week so they get to enjoy their business and live their lives on purpose. Around here, we do business differently because we believe success isn't about hustling to prove ourselves. We don't believe in rigid formulas or chasing someone else's version of success. It's about channeling perfection into power, moving with unstoppable trust in life and business, and leading with strategy that actually fits your life. Let's build your life and business on purpose together, one episode at a time. Here we go. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Like always, I am so happy that you are here. I'm so bummed. I ordered this brand new, really fancy high-tech microphone and I used it once and then it just kind of stopped working. So I was just on the phone with customer support, but I wanted to get in here and record this episode for you because it is such a great topic and it is so relevant for any online coaches who are showing up online, whether that's on Instagram, LinkedIn, podcast, however you're doing this, because I hear this all the time. Most people think that there is a right thing to say when they show up online. So when we go to create a post, just a simple post to share your work, share about you, we get all up in our heads and we start overthinking about the quote unquote right way to say something, or the right type of content, or the right format, or the right hashtags, or the right caption. And this literally leads to so much overthinking and second guessing, and it makes content creation a very dramatic, time-consuming part of your day. If you're not even sitting there posting, you're anticipating, thinking, okay, what am I going to post later? What am I going to post later? I need to make sure that I have the right, perfect thing to say. And so what happens is, because of that overthinking, we end up with really watered down content that doesn't really speak to anyone and leads to a shit ton of wasted time, wasted energy, and wasted brain space, essentially. All of that overthinking is basically living rent-free in your head right now. Now, obviously, when we have watered down content, this leads to little sales and very little engagement, not many convos, which has you frustrated and wondering if posting is even doing anything at all. So we're going to talk today about what it's actually about. It's not about getting the perfect post or the right format or the right content type. It is about taking a stand, owning that stand, and sharing that stand over and over and over again on repeat. It is eliminating there's a right thing to say belief, and knowing that showing up and saying what you want to say, saying what nobody else is saying it how you would say it in real life is what's going to lead to conversations and sales and conversions. It's about sharing what you're all about, what you value, and what you can't stand. It's drawing a line in the sand. So today we're going to talk about taking a stand in your content. I'll teach you exactly how to do that, owning that stand and sharing it over and over to create sales and conversions and conversations inside your online coaching business. Because if you are opening up Instagram every day thinking that there is a right thing that you are supposed to say to finally get people to engage and listen or buy or DM or reach out, this episode is going to change the way you show up online. Because the problem isn't that you're not smart enough or you don't have a great product or a great idea or a great service. And it's definitely not even that you need a bigger audience or that the audience you currently have isn't ready to buy. They are, and they're spending their money in other places. It's that you've been treating content like a performance that you have to get right instead of a position that you need to just start owning. So we overthink, we second guess, we tweak the caption 100 times, we water it down so it's relatable and it doesn't exclude anyone. And by the time you hit post, it doesn't really even sound like you anymore. And it doesn't sound like something that it just feels off, right? And when it flops, so nothing happens, your mom likes it and your sister, you're left wondering if posting is even doing anything at all, or if it's all just a big waste of time. So today, let's talk about why this belief that there's a right way to say things and to do things when we show up on Instagram is what's actually killing your momentum, and what shifts when you decide to draw a line in the sand, say what you actually believe and what you're actually thinking and how you actually would say it, and you repeat that unapologetically. Now, if you've been around here at the podcast for a while, welcome back. I love you, and it's so great to see you again. And if you are brand new here, welcome to the Life and Business on Purpose podcast. I'm Sandy Patterson, and I help women build online businesses that allow them to live their lives on purpose. I literally started my business because I wanted to be able to take my kids to school and pick them up at the end of the day. And I wanted to be able to work for myself and make money doing it. And now I'm paying this forward, and I work with recovering type A perfectionist control freaks. That is me too, do not worry, who are done spinning and overthinking and redeciding, and they're done outsourcing their confidence to anything outside of themselves. So we focus on building self-trust that replaces the second guessing, strategy that actually fits you, the woman who's running the business, and leadership that feels really grounded instead of forced. So what we do over here is we build businesses that allow you to live your life however you want to live it, with that time freedom, location freedom, freedom to choose, freedom to give your family opportunities, and freedom to pick your kids up from school if you want. Now, in the last episode, we talked about why visibility feels unsafe and how no amount of better hooks or more confidence or just pushing yourself through to post is going to fix that. We broke down what it actually takes to build internal safety so that you can show up clearly, stand behind what you're saying, and stop outsourcing your confidence to likes or comments or DMs or stuff like that. And that conversation is the foundation for today's episode, because once you showing up and being you feels safer in your body, the next trap that most people run into is believing that there is a right thing you're supposed to say, or a specific format, or a specific amount of posts that's finally going to get people engaging and buying and reaching out to book calls with you. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, make sure you go back and start there, because when you combine that internal safety with the conviction in your messaging, which is what we're talking about in this episode, that's when your content stops feeling really dramatic and it starts creating actual momentum. Now, before we dive in, if you already know that you are overthinking your content when you show up on Instagram and you are sick and tired of the mental spiral that happens when you go to post every day, I want to invite you to book an absolutely free, no pressure growth gap audit call where you and I will sit down together and we'll look at your current life and business structure. We'll look at what you're doing and how you're showing up. And we'll identify where your gaps are and we'll map out how to close them so you can see better results with less effort by really focusing on what truly matters. The link for that is in the show notes. And if you're ready for longer term support where you are able to have someone or a group of women in the weeds with you who are also building their lives and businesses on purpose, and you want me to get in there with you when it comes to visibility, your content, your messaging, what you're saying, and what you stand for, please apply for my mastermind or for private coaching. The link for those are in the show notes for you as well. Now, simply put, what we all want is to be able to show up online, on social media, Instagram, wherever you're showing up, to be really simple, okay? Not dramatic like it is right now. You don't actually want or need more content ideas or more templates or another, content calendar that you're not going to follow. What we want is to open up Instagram and know exactly why we're there, what we're going to say, who it's for, how it connects to your offer. We want to feel safe and grounded in that. And we want to be able to do that without overthinking it for an hour or more first. So many people that I talk to about social media have this very much love-hate relationship with it. But mostly when they say that, it's just a hate relationship. They're like, I don't even want to be doing this. I'm just doing this because I feel like I should. And then putting all of that pressure on themselves to get it right. We do not want to keep rewriting captions or wondering if you should tone it down or if we should tone it up or if we should be more vulnerable or if, oh my gosh, like, is this going to offend anyone? We're tired of trying to make everything sound relatable when it just ends up feeling really watered down and generic, like every other coach out there on Instagram. You would love to be able to just show up without overthinking and just say what you believe. You want to be able to have this like inspiration drop into your brain and then move on that without a lot of drama or preparation or like all the things that we think of when we go to post. And then you want that piece of content to spark something. And I'm not saying that you're going out on Instagram to get something or you're only posting to get sales or likes or DMs or whatever, but we want to know that people are listening and we want it to spark conversation and connection. Real conversations, right? With real people that are actually interested in what we're saying. Those conversations are the kind of conversations that naturally turn into sales instead of you having to force a pitch. And more than anything, you want to trust that when you show up, it is doing something. It is worth your time. And you're not just, wasting your time or spending your time doing this thing just because you think that's what you should be doing. You want to know that your content is leading somewhere instead of just hoping something lands, which oftentimes feels like throwing spaghetti at the wall, right? So right now what's happening is you're opening up Instagram thinking that there's some sort of right angle or right topic or right post that you haven't figured out yet. And that when you figure it out, everything's going to be unlocked. You're watching what other people are posting. You're probably saving hooks. You're tweaking your wording to make sure it sounds really smart or really strategic or really likable. Fill in the blank with whatever adjective you want. And you tell yourself that you just need a content plan or a stronger hook. And when you finally put all of those things in place, then it will click and then it won't be so hard. And then people will start moving and reaching out. This in itself leads to that brain drama, okay? The second guessing, the overthinking, the trying to say it right, or like spiraling when we think, okay, what am I supposed to say here? And because of that, when engagement is really low and no one reaches out, you assumed that you're just missing the mark, right? There's something out there that I'm missing. Thinking that there's this perfect content type or this perfect thing to say or this perfect angle. And really, this is not working because you're trying to optimize for approval instead of optimizing for leadership. When you believe there's a right thing to say, you automatically start filtering yourself, whether you consciously notice it or not. It happens. You soften your opinions. You try to sound a certain way or sound the way that you think your audience wants you to sound. And you make everything really general, so there's no room for disagreement. And you focus on sounding a certain way, the way that you think that your audience wants you to sound or wants, like you look at people that are getting hired and you go, ooh, I'm going to try to sound like her, or ooh, she's got it figured out, so I'm going to create a post just like her. Instead of being really clear and really convicted in what you believe and who you are. So when when we post this content out into the world that we've overthought so much and we're, basically having this like internal back and forth ping pong game with, it doesn't move anyone. People land on it and they don't go, ooh, I really want to buy this, or I really want to be in this girl's world. Because people don't buy things that are technically correct. They buy because they feel something very specific. They reach out because they can't help themselves because they see themselves in that. Or somebody has said something that they think, oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. Because it names their problem directly and because it takes a stand and makes them think, finally, someone said this out loud. Thank goodness. So when you're constantly adjusting your message to make sure it lands with everyone, it ends up landing with no one. You've heard the saying over and over, when you talk to everyone, you're talking to no one, right? And the really exhausting part about all of this is that you're spending more time creating content that you actually need to. Okay. And it's not creating momentum. So you feel drained, you feel discouraged, you feel like, after you post, after you finally hit publish, you can take a deep breath. But immediately after that, you're thinking, oh my gosh, okay, I gotta ramp up. And what am I going to post tomorrow? How am I going to show up tomorrow? So instead, you've been prioritizing getting it right over getting really clear on what it is that you believe. So instead of trying to figure out the right thing to say, we got to decide what you stand for. Okay. So before you open Instagram, you should already know the core conversations that you're here to lead and to share. You should know what you believe about your niche, almost like your hot takes, what you're no longer available for, and what you think people are doing that isn't working, what you see differently. Those are all really great journal prompts too, by the way. So write those down. Your job isn't to impress the algorithm, okay? It is to lead your people. And that means choosing a position and repeating it, even if it feels really simple, even if you're like, I've already said this. I said this yesterday. Newsflash. Most of your audience probably didn't even see it. And if they did see it, it's good for them to continue hearing it again, because that's what's going to build your authority. And it's also what's going to have people associating you with your specific topic or your specific niche. So that when they hear or see your name, they know, oh, yep, I know exactly what she stands for and what she does and what she's all about. Even if someone else in your industry disagrees with the belief or the thought. So we focus less on crafting the perfect post and more on reinforcing the same new powerful ideas over and over and over again until your audience associates you with those ideas. So you let your content begin to reflect your values and your standards and your perspective. Now, I will say again, this is very hard to do if you have not created internal safety being visible online. So that's why go back to the last episode if you haven't listened to that, because that's what we talk about over there. So instead of asking, what should I say today? You start asking, what do my people need to hear from me today based on what I believe? What do I want to talk about today? Okay. That I know my dream clients are going to resonate with and are going to agree with. That shift alone changes everything, because now you're not hoping something lands. You're intentionally leading somewhere without attachment to the results or what happens afterwards. So let's chat about how we actually do this. I'm going to talk you through the conviction to conversion framework. And this framework is designed to walk you through a step-by-step to understand what you believe and how you can continue sharing it over and over again. And I promise you, this is going to make content creation so much easier and so much more streamlined for you, because we're no longer just reaching out into the ethers to grab anything. And we have a really focused direction for you to go. Okay. So step one is decide what you are no longer available for. Before you decide what you stand for, let's decide what you stand against. So here are some questions to reflect on. What advice in your niche makes your eyes roll? Or what you hear people doing and you go, oh my gosh, are you serious? Like, that is so not the right thing that my client should be doing. And it's just like, it's wrong advice. For a burnout coach, you might roll your eyes at the idea that self-care is a warm bath and a pedicure. Like, we know self-care is a lot deeper than that. She's going to roll her eyes at that. What are people normalizing that you think is actually slowing them down? What are your clients doing before they come to you that you know and they've told you wasn't working or isn't working? Your standards matter and your boundaries matter, and we're not doing this over here matters. And it's a really great place to start when you're beginning to tease out what it is that you actually stand for and what you believe in and what you can stand behind. This is where that conviction in your work starts. So when you get clear on what you're not available for anymore, your messaging is going to automatically get much clearer, and you're also going to be able to understand what it is that you do stand for. Okay. Now, step 2 is to clarify the core beliefs behind your work and behind what you do. So strip away all the strategies for a second. Okay. What do you actually believe about what it is that you do, and why do you do it? So it's not what sounds good. It's not what your mentor says or her opinion or what your coach said. And it's also not what's trending. What do you actually believe creates results? So for like a business coach, what do you actually believe about sales? And that's going to come from your lived experience and what you've experienced and what you've had success with and what your clients have had success with. For a health and nutrition coach, what do you actually believe about discipline and what that looks like for your clients and what your clients are currently believing that you know is not actually helping, or vice versa, that not a lot of people know about that actually is going to help? If you are a burnout coach, what do you believe about balance and how we're supposed to balance life and work and motherhood and all the things? What do you believe about that? If you're an executive functioning coach, what do you believe about time management or time blocking or time in itself? These are all examples of different niches and areas, but we want to create these core beliefs around what you believe. Not what everybody else says, but what you believe. And this is sometimes a really hard step because we're so inundated with so many different thoughts and ideas and everyone's right. It's almost like when you become a parent for the first time. I talk about this all the time, about how becoming a parent for the first time is very similar to starting a business, because in the beginning, you're very much bombarded with all of this conflicting information. So like, my mom says to do this and my mother-in-law says to do this, but the pediatrician says to do this, but this online moms group told me that if I do that, I'm going to like ruin my kid, right? You're bombarded with all of this information. The same is true in business and in your niche. We're bombarded with all of this information and everybody thinks they're right? So at some point, we have to just put our blinders on and we have to go, okay, I know based on my experience, based on my gut, my intuition, and who I am and what my core beliefs are and what I don't stand for, I know what's best for me and for my people. And in the parenting situation, for my kid, right? So we get really clear on what it is that you believe. And these core beliefs become the foundation of your messaging. And when you start to repeat them consistently, people begin to associate you with a very specific, not even niche, but a specific way of thinking. And that is what builds authority and allows you to lead. So again, it's not just about, oh, my niche is whatever. But it's a specific way of thinking that your ideal client, not everyone, but your ideal client, your dream client, a person that's very similar to you, is going to look at and go, oh my gosh, yes, this is it. Thank goodness. Like, I finally found this person to help me with this in a way that really resonates with me. Okay. Now, the third step 3, is to choose 3 to 5 conversations that you are willing to start to repeat. You don't need a bunch of new ideas or content templates or frameworks. What you need is a handful, that's 5, of conversations that you are willing to lead over and over and over and over again. Now, you don't have to say it in the same exact way every time, but it's the same topic, the same ideas. So here are some questions for you to reflect on. What are the themes that you want to be known for? I love that question. What do you want to be known for? Okay. What problems do you solve again and again? And what shifts do your clients consistently make? When you commit to repeating and reinforcing those conversations instead of reinventing yourself every week, your content is going to begin to compound. So all the little pieces are going to come together to build a completed puzzle, essentially. So when you open up Instagram, the idea is that you're not asking, what should I say today? What do I say to get people to reach out? What do I say to get people to buy? What do I need to say to get people to book a discovery call? Instead, you're choosing which one of these core conversations and core beliefs you're going to continue with today. That, my friends, is leadership, and leadership is what converts and drives conversations. So let me give you an example of this, and I'm going to compare it to a restaurant, okay? So if you're trying to find the right thing to say constantly, so every day it's like you're starting from scratch, like what do I say today? When you're trying to find that right thing to say online when you show up, it's like owning a restaurant that changes its menu every single day because you're afraid that someone will not like it. Okay? Think about that. One day you go in and you got Mexican food and margaritas. The next day there's sushi. The next day it's, Italian food and pizza. And then the next day it's, tacos. It's just too much. It's too confusing, right? So what happens is you're watching other restaurants and what they're doing, and you're tweaking the menu and you're changing things and you're trying to make sure that everyone's happy and that there's something for everyone here. But here's the problem. No one knows what you're known for, okay? There's no signature dish there. There's no, oh, you want a really great burger? Go here. And because you're constantly adjusting to please everyone, nothing stands out for someone to say, oh my gosh, my favorite hole-in-the-wall taco shop. You got to go there. The enchiladas are amazing. Like, that's exactly what I've been craving. Now, if you compare this to a restaurant that is known for something, so like they're known for this, like think of In-N-Out, right? Out here on the West Coast, In-N-Outs are everywhere, and everyone that I've ever talked to loves In-N-Out. I just think it's okay, but that's just my opinion. Don't tell my boys, okay? But when a restaurant is known for something, they own it, they perfect it, they repeat it over and over, and they double down on those items on their menu. And it's not that everyone's going to love it, but the right people will. They will drive across town, or in the In-N-Out situation across the country for it. They will tell their friends about it. They'll come back again and again and again. And this is what conviction in your messaging does. When you stop trying to serve everything and everyone and start owning what your signature stance is, your standards, your beliefs, your opinions, we don't do that here. People start to know exactly why they're following you and what they're going to get out of your work together, who they're going to become. And you become known for something. And known creates conversations. Known creates conversions. Now, this is exactly where this work plugs into my signature momentum method as a whole. In phase 1 of the momentum method, which is perfection to power, you stop obsessing over getting the wording right or the right post, and you redirect that perfectionist energy into raising your standards around your beliefs instead of softening your message. And then in phase 2, which is the unstoppable self-trust system, you build the internal safety and the self-trust that's required to actually stand behind what you believe, even when engagement fluctuates or someone disagrees with you. And in phase 3, values-aligned strategy, we turn that conviction into repeatable core conversations that compound over time and naturally lead into your offers. So it's not just about better content, and it's not about creating content that's going to get people to buy. It's about shifting from performing for approval to leading with conviction and standing behind that. And that's what creates momentum and money without the constant second guessing. Sounds really good, right? It is, trust me. There are 3 key parts to my signature momentum method. And the first one, like I said, is turning your perfectionism into power. So this is not about fixing your perfectionism or your high standards. You're always going to be the girl that wants things done right, because you're the person that if you're going to do something, you're not only going to do it well, but you're going to give it 110%. So it's about diverting that perfectionism and those high standards and taking them and pushing them into the things that actually matter in your business, which are things that are going to move the needle forward and are going to allow you to speed up and move a lot quicker in your business. So there's no more obsessing over the perfect caption or the perfect offer suite or overthinking what to say in a sales conversation or wondering if you're doing things the right way or obsessing what other people think of you. And instead, we take that focus and we divert it into things like creating a very cohesive, recognizable brand, messaging that speaks directly to your ideal client, and delivering an incredible client experience so that you create a community of your people who are going to stick with you long term. This step alone has allowed my clients to move way faster, have their highest income months, sell sooner and with a lot more ease, build stronger brands, and create client communities that actually last because their perfectionism is now no longer slowing them down. It's working for them instead of against them. Now, the second phase inside of my signature momentum method is the unstoppable self-trust system. Growing and scaling an online coaching business is not about finding this magic strategy that's going to instantly skyrocket your business. It's about having a massive amount of self-trust so that you can keep moving, you can keep selling, leading, showing up powerfully, even before you have evidence or validation or results to show. Inside this unstoppable trust system, we pinpoint the misalignment between what you're doing now, your current approach, and the mindset, behaviors, and strategy of a coach who already has everything that she wants. So then we upgrade incrementally how you show up and move so your business catches up to the identity and the income that you know that you're ready for. Now, the third phase inside of the momentum method is values-driven strategy. So many times women come to me and they say, Sandy, help me out. I'm doing all of these things and nothing is working. And when we look at what they're actually doing and I say, what's the reasoning behind this strategy, this specific marketing strategy, content strategy, sales strategy, what's the reasoning behind you doing that? They either say, I'm not really sure. I'm just doing it because everybody else is doing it. Or they'll tell me, I'm doing it because so-and-so told me to do it. But sustaining and running a successful online coaching business isn't about doing everything or doing what everybody else is doing or doing what your coach does. It's about finding those strategies, content, sales, marketing, all the things that works for you and that feels fun for you and that fits into your life on purpose, that you can do over and over again sustainably without dreading it. So that showing up to run your business and work in your business, to sell your offer, market your services, it all feels really fun and easy and effortless because it's aligned with you and your values, your voice, your vision, and what you're creating, your life. Now, this momentum method has been transformative and the key to unlocking my business and my clients' businesses and lives, and has them going from saying, Sandy, I'm doing so much, nothing's working, and I'm already burnt out and I feel like I've barely gotten started, to shifting from posting sporadically to showing up with consistent, authority-driven content that converts followers into buyers. And they've stopped overthinking every sentence in their content, in their messaging, in their sales calls, and they've started just speaking boldly, being them, which instantly increases engagement and inquiries and discovery calls and sales. So if you have listened to this episode and you are thinking, oh my gosh, Sandy, like you hit the nail on the head. I am absolutely slowing myself down because I think there's a right way. And I'm sick and tired of second guessing my content and what I'm going to post and how I'm going to say it, so much so that I know I need to change this. You have two options. You can book that absolutely free, no pressure growth gap audit call. On this call, we'll take a look at your current life and business structure. We'll identify where those gaps are, and I'll show you how to close the gaps so you can get better results with less effort by working smarter and focusing your time on what actually matters. No more productive procrastination, no more cute little busy work on the back end. The link for that growth gap audit call is in the show notes. Or if you're ready to go all in with your business and support, that goes deeper than just surface level strategy so that you're not just posting more, you're leading your business with clarity and conviction, you can apply for my mastermind or for private coaching. The link for those is in the show notes for you as well. Now, thank you so much for being here today and spending this time with me. I do not take that lightly, and I love any time that we get to connect. So please head over to Instagram, share what your takeaways were, share what shifted for you after listening to this episode, and please make sure that you hit that follow button so you do not miss any new episodes. And if this episode hit home, please consider leaving a review. It helps me out. Hitting those stars just takes a second, and send it over to your biz bestie who's also ready to stop the unhealthy relationship that she has with content and posting online and wants to get grounded and real in conviction in what she believes. I will see you all next time in the next episode. And until then, take care. I love you all. Mwah. If you are sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, this episode was made for me, you have two options. You can book your absolutely free, no pressure growth gap audit call. On this call, we'll take a look at your current life and business structure, identify where your gaps are, and show you how to close those gaps so you can get better results with less effort by working smarter and focusing your time on what actually moves the needle forward. The link is in the show notes for you. Or if you're ready to go from one-off wins to repeatable revenue with structure, strategy, and sales that support your life and keep dream clients coming back and your calendar full without burning out, you can apply to work together by clicking the link in the show notes. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss any new episodes. And if this episode hits home, please consider leaving a review, hitting those stars, and sending it to your biz bestie who's also ready to build a life and business on purpose. I'll see you next time.